Built to do battle with the likes of Rolls-Royce, the Mercedes-Benz 600 was one of the finest luxury cars ever created, blending opulence with dependability and performance, and thereby resulting in a machine that would become the must-have road-going accessory for both celebrities and world leaders alike. Towards the end of the 1950s, Mercedes-Benz was reaching the culmination of its post-war recovery, presenting the world with some of the greatest luxury models in automotive history, the pinnacle of which was the 300 SL Gullwing of 1954, a two-seat sports car that perfectly mixed style, luxury and performance in a manner that outstripped nearly all of its rivals. This was reflected in its highest luxury limousine model, the W189 of 1957, a car that was built to do battle with the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud and could match its British rival in terms of luxury, style and price, but was notably superior with regard to performance, Mercedes priding itself on delivering equal luxury to its contemporaries, but with a sporting edge for added appeal. However, within a year of the W189's launch, which was also known as the Adenauer in honor of West Germany's first chancellor, Mercedes had begun development on a replacement machine for the 1960s, eschewing the aristocratic looks of its predecessor that now looked distinctly dated as styling trends moved towards more conventional saloon cars akin to Cadillacs and Lincolns of the United States. Entering development under the code name W100 during 1958, the replacement for the W189 was penned by Paul Bracq, the head of Daimler-Benz's design studio based in Sindelfingen, and would feature the first V8 developed by Mercedes-Benz. Development of the W100 began with a displacement of 5 litres, and the first prototype was running by the end of 1959, while 2 further displacements were tested at 5.8 and 6 litres, before the legendary automotive engineer and executive, Fritz Nallinger, decided on 6.3 litres, while each power unit would include mechanical fuel injection instead of carburetors. To ensure exclusivity on par with the likes of Rolls-Royce, each of the upcoming W100 cars would be built by hand on a dedicated production line, a very expensive and laborious process, and one that required its own bespoke tooling due to its limited parts sharing with regular models from the Mercedes mass production lineup. When the W100 was still on the drawing board, the head engineers decided on hydraulics instead of electric assistance systems, with Werner Breitschwert, chairman of Daimler-Benz and key figure behind Mercedes' post-war recovery, justifying this move by stating that the electrical systems of the early 1960s would simply not have been able to accommodate the functions of the car. With the upcoming model proposing to incorporate nearly every luxury feature that could be put inside a contemporary automobile, space and weight were critical to the car's success, and with the electrical functions alone requiring the need for a second battery, a high-pressure hydraulic system was favoured as it was smaller, quieter and lighter than an electrical equivalent. The high-pressure hydraulics fitted to the W100 allowed for precise control for various elements within the machine on par with electric motors, and would eventually power the windows, sliding sunroof, internal partition, boot lid, heater and vent flaps, front and rear seat adjustment, shock absorber adjustment, and parking brake release. Under the direction of Rudolf Uhlenhaut, head of passenger car design, 3 main targets would need to be reached for the W100, these being maximum passenger comfort, industry-leading safety, and copious performance for high-speed cruising. Uhlenhaut's influence on the project would include the combination of air suspension with front wishbones and a single joint swing axle, while the braking system would feature a dual circuit and 2 calipers for each front rotor, with 9-inch by 15-inch rubber shoes being uniquely developed by Fulda and Continental for the W100. Being christened the Mercedes-Benz 600, although it would also obtain the formal title of the Mercedes-Benz Pullman and an informal nickname of the Grosser, the car was launched in August 1963 at the International Motor Show in Frankfurt, and was immediately lauded for its delivery of the absolute best in modern luxury motoring that put the likes of Rolls-Royce, Cadillac and Lincoln to shame. Mainstream production of the car would begin in September 1964, with basic equipment for the 600, including air suspension, power brakes, central locking systems, and an electronic heating and airing system that afforded the maximum of ride comfort and easy handling. The car would also give rise to multiple variants, with the base model W100 being the 5- and 6-seated sedan with a 3,200mm wheelbase, while the 3-, 7- and 8-seated Pullman versions sported a 3,900mm wheelbase, These models including the four-door Pullman limousine with rear seating in a face-to-face arrangement, a six-door Pullman limousine with rear seats and additional folding tables in driving direction, and the Pullman Landaulet. The latter was available in 4 different versions: the standard variant with 4 doors, rear seating in face-to-face arrangement, and a hood that reached to the front edges of the rear doors, while as a special design, a 6-door version with rear seats and additional fold-down chairs in the driving direction was also available. As with the 6-door Pullman limousine, the doors in the middle could also be ordered without handles, while both Landaulets, the 4-door as well as the 6-door version, were also available with a long hood which extended to the middle partition. Even more exclusive than the Landaulets were the special security sedans and Pullman limousines, which, like the Landaulets, were not included in any price list, these 2 cars being the first bulletproof vehicle produced by Daimler-Benz after the war and emerged in June 1965 and 1980, both machines being distinguishable by their elevated roofline. For special customers who were faced with potential threats and who had the necessary financial means, 43 Special Security 600 models were built between May 1971 and November 1980, which, unlike the 2 cars of Daimler-Benz's vehicle fleet, had a roofline of ordinary height, with 26 saloons and 17 Pullman limousines eventually being built, one of which was a 6-door version. The numerous body designs, though, was but a fraction of the myriad of options that could be tailored for each customer in terms of trim and finish, with paintwork, interior design, and special equipment being so vast and varied that it is not recorded that 2 cars left the factory with identical equipment, especially among the Pullman limousines and Landaulets. In this context, 3 individual cars should be mentioned, which, regarding equipment details and technology, have no equal, the first being a 4-door Pullman Landaulet, as delivered in September 1965, that was built for Pope Paul VI, and featured an individual seat, an elevated roof, and extended rear doors. In May 1967, at customer specification, a unique 600 Landaulet was delivered with a shorter wheelbase so that it would combine the luxurious appointment of the Landaulet with the performance and handling of the base model. The third model of note was a unique 2-door coupe version with a shorter wheelbase, which was produced as a prototype in August 1965 and sold in the United States after spending some time in the testing department. However, more distinguishable than the car's seemingly endless number of options and variations was its celebrity clientele, with notable stars of stage and screen, as well as other famous owners in civilian circles, including Coco Chanel, David Bowie, Eric Clapton, Elizabeth Taylor, Elvis Presley, George Harrison, John Lennon, Jack Nicholson, Jay Leno, Jeremy Clarkson, Ringo Starr, Rowan Atkinson, and Roy Orbison. However, more notable were its list of political owners, namely dictators and despots, who used the Mercedes-Benz 600 as a means to truly emphasize their power and prestige, not only among their people, but on the wider world stage. Comprehensively, the political owners of the Mercedes-Benz 600 included Anastasio Somoza Debayle, president of Nicaragua who was assassinated in 1980, ending the 43-year reign of the notorious Somoza family, Bhumibol Adulyadej, king of Thailand from 1946 to 2016, B.J. Habibie, third president of Indonesia from 1998 to 1999, Chen Yi, vice premier of the People's Republic of China from 1954 to 1972, the first and second president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Arap Moi, Mao Zedong, revolutionary leader and first chairman of the People's Republic of China from 1949 until his death in 1976, together with Deng Xiaoping, paramount leader of China from 1978 to 1989, and Deng Yingqiao, wife of Zhou Enlai, the first Chinese prime minister, Enver Hoxha, dictator of Albania from 1944 until his death in 1985, François Duvalier, dictator of the island nation of Haiti from 1957 until his death in 1971, and his son Jean-Claude Duvalier, who was president from his father's death in 1971 until his overthrow in 1986, François Tombalbaye, first president of Chad from the country's independence in 1960 until his overthrow and assassination in 1975, Ferdinand Marcos, 10th president and dictator of the Philippines from 1965 to 1986, state presidents of South Africa, Jim Fuchs, Nicolaas Johannes Diedrichs, John Vorster, P.W. Botha, Marius Viljoen, and Frederick Willem de Klerk between 1968 and 1994, Habib Bourguiba, President of Tunisia from 1957 to 1987, Hassan II of Morocco, King of Morocco from 1961 until his death in 1999, and his son, the current monarch, Mohammed VI, Hastings Banda, autocratic leader of Malawi from 1964 to 1994, Hosni Mubarak, dictator and president of Egypt from 1981 to his overthrow in 2011, Idi Amin, the notorious and genocidal leader of Uganda from 1971 to 1979, Josip Broz Tito, military leader of the unified socialist Balkan state of Yugoslavia from 1943 until his death in 1980, Jean-Bédel Bokassa, military dictator and self-proclaimed emperor of the Central African Republic from 1966 to 1979, Khalid bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, King and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia from 1975 to his death in 1982, Kim Il-sung, the revolutionary first leader of Communist North Korea from 1948 to 1994, together with his son Kim Jong-il and the current leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, Leonid Brezhnev, General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1964 until his death in 1982, Leopold Sedar Senghor, the first president and socialist leader of Senegal from 1960 to 1980, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran from 1941 until his overthrow during the Iranian Revolution of 1979, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, leader of Pakistan from 1971 to 1977, and the man who would overthrow and order his execution, Mohammad Zia-ul-Haq, who would rule as military dictator until his death in a plane crash 10 years later under suspicious circumstances, Mobutu Sese Seko, dictator of Zaire from 1965 to 1997, what is now known as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Nicolae Ceausescu, Romanian dictator and general secretary of the Romanian Communist Party from 1965 to his execution by firing squad in 1989 during the Romanian Revolution, Norodom Sihanouk, King of Cambodia from 1941 to his abdication in 1955, and from 1993 to his second abdication in 2004, Omar Bongo, second president and single-party ruler of Gabon from 1967 until his death in 2009, Park Chung-hee, military leader of South Korea from his successful coup in 1961 until his assassination in 1979, Prem Rawat, Indian guru and leader of the Divine Light Mission, a controversial new religious movement often described as a cult, Pablo Escobar, the violent and notorious drug baron of the Medellin cartel who monopolized the cocaine trade into the United States in the 1980s and early 1990s, Robert Mugabe, dictator of Zimbabwe from 1980 to 2017, first as prime minister and later president, Saddam Hussein, military leader of Iraq from 1979 to 2003, Silvio Berlusconi, prime minister of Italy who served in 4 governments from 1994 to 1995, 2001 to 2006, and 2008 to 2011, Suleiman Demirel, president of Turkey from 1993 to 2000, and Todor Zhivkov, communist statesman and dictator of the People's Republic of Bulgaria from 1954 to 1989. The Mercedes-Benz 600 would continue in sales until June 1981, when during the wake of the 1979 Iranian Revolution and oil crisis, there was a significant downturn in the commercial performance for ultra-luxury cars, as per the 600 and contemporary Rolls-Royce models, thus no longer justifying the continued production of this handcrafted machine on a financial level. Ultimately, 2,677 of these cars were built across its 17-year production life, 429 of which were Pullman limousines and 59 Landaules, the demise of the 600 in 1981 marking the last ultra-luxury model that Mercedes-Benz had produced in an unbroken heritage since the Model 60 horsepower Simplex from 1903. In its absence, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class or Sonderklasse became the company's flagship model, and a machine that would maintain the German car builder's sturdy reputation for the most comprehensive and lavish appointment of a luxury saloon, with the 1980s truly seeing this model become one of the most desirable cars on sale for the period. In 1999, Mercedes-Benz unveiled the Maybach prototype as a spiritual successor to the 600, which would subsequently lead to a return to the ultra-luxury segment against the likes of the Rolls-Royce Phantom, though despite receiving acclaim upon its launch in 2002, the Maybach failed to have the same driver-orientated appeal of its rivals and was a somewhat cumbersome car to own in many parts of the world. This, in combination with a downturn in luxury car sales, caused by the 2008 global economic recession, meant the Maybach was a significant financial failure for the Daimler-Benz Group, and in 2012, the project was wrapped up with no replacement, the S-Class once again taking its place as company flagship, with the highest available version being the Mercedes-Maybach S-Class. In the end, the Mercedes-Benz 600 is a truly unique part of the luxury motoring scene, as thanks to its mixture of styling, performance, and sheer affluence, the car was able to give the likes of Rolls-Royce an able competitor in one of the most demanding market segments, while at the same time garnering notoriety for its seemingly endless list of clients, many of whom were famous for all the wrong reasons.